Hard years don't build character. Juneteenth teaches us the survival mechanics every founder needs when market conditions turn hostile. Welcome to your Weekly Ally, a weekly newsletter where we dive deep into the strategies, stories, and game-changing insights that help you navigate business challenges and unlock your organization's true potential for growth. This is the 50th issue of this newsletter. I had planned to let the milestone pass quietly, but then I looked at the calendar and saw which week this issue lands on. Issue 0 went out on Juneteenth 2025. We chose that date to launch the newsletter on purpose. The holiday said something true about what we were trying to build. Finding issue 50 in the same week, without planning it that way, felt like a reason to stop and pay attention. This Friday marks the day in 1865 when freedom became enforceable for the last enslaved people in Texas, 2.5 years after it had been promised on paper. What followed was one of the most remarkable waves of business formation in American history. People who had been denied ownership of everything, including themselves, started enterprises. They did not build because conditions were favorable. Conditions were openly hostile. They built because ownership was the point. That idea deserves to lead this issue. The businesses that never had easy years. First, let me give you the honest backdrop. Small business optimism just hit its lowest point since October 2024. Hiring plans fell to levels last seen at the start of the pandemic. Inflation came in at a red-hot 4.2% this week. By any normal measure, this is a hard season to be an owner. Now hold that next to this. Black-owned businesses have operated under structurally harder conditions for generations, less access to capital, higher loan denial rates at the same credit profiles, thinner margins for error, with no cushion when the error came anyway. They built a $207 billion economy, employing nearly 5 million people under those conditions. Not despite the constraints, within them, year after year, without the option of waiting for a better climate. What endurance actually looks like. The endurance behind that number is not a sentiment. It is a set of operational mechanics worth studying today. When traditional banking said no, the community functioned as infrastructure. Capital moved through churches, rotating savings circles, and family networks. Relationships did the work that collateral was supposed to do. Revenue was diversified out of necessity rather than strategy. What looked like a simple hustle from the outside was actually brilliant architecture, building several small, resilient foundations instead of one large, fragile one. This isn't just history. It is a blueprint for operating in a capital-constrained market today. When traditional leverage disappears and costs spike, your peer circle, your vendor flexibility, and your distributed revenue streams literally become your balance sheet. Hard years do not build character. They audit your infrastructure. The question underneath 50, issues. I have written 49 issues before this one. Looking back, nearly every framework has been about a single thing, keeping your agency while you grow. Owning the decisions, not just the equity. I built a company, sold it in 2021, and started again. The exit was not the part that mattered most. What mattered was that every choice along the way was mine to make. Juneteenth puts language to that. A business is not just a growth vehicle. It is proof of agency. In a market where input costs and tariffs are dictated to you, agency is the only margin you actually control. Saying no to a high-revenue client that drains your operational capacity is an act of agency. Refusing to hire a rock star who doesn't align with your company culture is an act of agency. What you build with that control is your real ledger. Tactical note, Friday's Substack is the mid-year ownership review. 5 questions to re-answer in one sitting before Q3 planning starts. The link is in the text version of this newsletter. The bottom line, our 50th issue and Juneteenth week have us reflecting on the same question. What are our businesses built for? The owner's Juneteenth honors answered it under the hardest conditions this country has produced. Revenue mattered, but ownership was the point, and agency was how they held it. If you are navigating a tight year, both answers still hold. Economic conditions don't get to decide what you are building. You do. New here? Welcome to your weekly ally. Subscribe to join entrepreneurs building what matters. Discussion. What is your business proof of? Hit reply and let us know. We read every comment. Your weekly ally team.